Greetings, peoples of planet Earth and others. And have you ever experienced anxiety? No? Would you like to? Try being 5 and have your mom leave you at the checkout line in the grocery store. If that doesn't do it for you, I'm sorry, but nothing will. You're just built different. But, may I still offer you the subject of today's video? I may and I will. That is a rhetorical question. I already wrote the script, so sit down and let me tell you all about pumpkin panic. Except the title's too long, so I'll be abbreviating it to PP instead. It's shorter and more efficient. So PP is a... PP... PP is... So PP... PP is... No. Pumpkin Panic is an indie survival game made by the creator called Bilalaika. Or Bilalaika, or Balalaika, I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'll just cover all grounds. Now, a little thing about me is that I don't really like difficult games. I'm a gay boy, not a gamer boy. She said, see you later, boy. Games for me are first and foremost a way to unwind and relax. And screaming at your computer as you have to restart the same level 34 times over as your fingers are cramping up isn't synonymous with relaxing in my personal dictionary. A game would have to be really fun for me to justify its difficulty. One of the games that make the list is Cuphead, both in a sense that it's a game that's fun enough for me to play, and in the sense that the list is a hit list because I still can't get anyone other than Baroness on aisle 2, and if I have to deal with another clown... But we're not talking about Cuphead today, are we? Are we? Because I could just talk about Cuphead. I mean, it's a game that has King Dice in it, which by default makes it the best game in the world. But no, we're talking about Pumpkin Panic, a game that doesn't have King Dice in it, unfortunately. So, it'll have to rely on something else to impress me. Pumpkin Panic is a farming game, which is a game genre most known for being relaxing and easygoing. Already getting good points for me personally. I really dig me some farming games. Get it? Dig. Like Stardew Valley, for example, where the story mostly follows your own pace, and you can just drift away into the peaceful atmosphere of a small remote town, forget all about your real life, and not worry about getting back home in time from the caves before your character passes out on the dirt and having to cough up a bazillion gold to the Georgia Corporation for bringing you home against your will. But Pumpkin Panic isn't actually like that. Oh no, she's not like other farming games. In case you didn't notice, this game isn't called Pumpkin Peace. No, the title of this game is a sure promise. You will be pumpkin and you will be panic. Now, before we get into the details of it, I would just quickly like to apologize for that pixel crispy video quality you'll be getting for the gameplay. Truthfully, I was recording footage for this game on an actual potato, and those don't usually come with HD graphic cards. So if you want better gameplay quality, just play the game yourself. In fact, I strongly recommend, nay insist, nay order, that if you haven't played this game, to go and fix yourself right this second. This game is at its best when experienced yourself while going in completely blind, not knowing what to expect. I'll leave a link to the game's itch.io page in the description box. It's listed as pay what you want, so there's literally no reason to not give it a go and pay the creator $1,000 because that's exactly what you want to do. Unless you don't like horror games and would just like to hear me ramble about it, in which case, lucky I already made this video. Alright, spoilers for literally everything from this point on. The butler did it. So, you start the game and you're treated to a mini cutscene of a crow telling you, in a human language, to wake up and get to work. So far, so normal. That's just my average Tuesday. Oh my god! Look at our player avatar! Oh, they're so cute! Oh my god, I love this character design so much. I don't know what it is about this type of character that have giant cloaks that hide their arms, but god damn it, I dig it so much. Literally my favorite gender. And look at the visuals! They look so good, trust me. This game is already getting good points for aesthetics from me. I don't even need to play it. I just want to sit here and stare at it. It looks strangely edible. I want to chew on it. So our friend Crow, who I'm gonna call Crowley, not because he's a crow and not after the non-binary gay demon Crowley, but a secret third reason, gives us some startup seeds and a quick guide over the basic gameplay mechanics. And we start to get the general feel for the controls and slowly solidify the general loop of plant seeds, water, fill the bucket, water, harvest, repeat. The monotony has already begun. Thank God it's cottagecore at least. While the cozy atmosphere and the breathtaking visuals that you can't properly see on my footage is setting in, lulling you into your routine daydream about leaving everything behind and moving into a rustic cottage in the middle of the woods where the chains of society can bind you no longer and you can truly experience life, this happens. Your crow friend, that I decided to rename to Bartholomew for no reason whatsoever, draws attention to this noise, tells you to run and hide, and himself makes like a bowl of nachos and dips. And you never see him again after this. Up until you get jump scared by him flying in front of the screen as he brings you twigs and branches and piss cakes for you to collect for extra cash. Thanks, Bartholomew. To be honest, the crow drawing attention to the noise kinda spooked me more than the noise itself when I heard it for the first time. It sounded like a non-diegetic sound cue for the player, so having the character draw attention to it felt like a surprise fourth wall break to me. Now, that's not to say that that's the intentional effect the game was going for. It was probably just a way to better communicate that the noise is something the player should pay attention to and what response they should have for it. So that was mostly on me being a coward. I'm pretty easy to scare. You can probably get me with peekaboo. I also got freaked out when Franklin, I decided to change his name to Franklin, tells you about the lantern you have and warns you about using it carefully, but doesn't elaborate further. And I went, why? What's gonna happen if I don't use it carefully? Is it gonna attract monsters towards me? Is it gonna beat me up? Am I gonna die? It'll run out of fuel. That's what he meant. Yeah, I'm so easy to scare. I didn't even need to be told to run when I heard the noise. I was already halfway towards the house. I was already on the edge of my seat playing this game, expecting danger. I don't know where to expect it from, but honestly, I'm pretty content with never finding that out. I'm just being told... What was that? So yeah, there are things in this game that probably want to kill you, and it's time to meet the first one of them. This one commenter on itch.io referred to him as Larry, so that's what I'll be referring to him as well. I saw some people refer to this guy as the Skinwalker, the Skin Crawler, and the Crawler, but without the skin. But none of those I feel really captured the essence of the monster. Larry just suits him much better. That's Larry right there, look at him go! Larry's introduction is honestly quite effective. He shows up at around the time you'd start letting your guard down, and with his, striking, to say the least, appearance, immediately shatters any sense of safety you might have built up in those 2 minutes. Yeah, don't even think about getting comfortable. You will be stabbed in this game. By a naked man. His design is so over-the-top monstrous and grotesque, it really juxtaposes with the otherwise calm and cozy atmosphere of the farm in the woods, which like instantly turns every introvert's peaceful dream home into the place where people go to disappear from society in a bad way. That is some grade A character introduction. 10 out of 10, soiled my bridges. And thus the stage is set. There is a scary, toothy, crawly man that sometimes shows up on your property and potentially has malicious intention towards you. So Anakin, you should already be panicking at this point. At the very least, you should be Pumpkin. Larry shows up like twice during the day and then twice at night, and every time his arrival will be preceded by a sound of someone anxiously assaulting a fiddle. When Larry shows up, he'll just be hanging out on your lawn for a bit, just running around your property. While he's outside, you can kinda step out of your door to be ballsy, if you've already been playing this game so much that you've lost all fear of God and Larry, so you wanna tease him a bit. But keep in mind, you will not be able to outrun him if you go too far. You can barely outrun a snail, TBH. It's lucky a mortal snail or anything similar to it isn't an enemy in this game. Your character without speed upgrades moves pretty slowly, and they can only sprint for like a second before they need to recharge their feet. So, you know, don't be too ballsy. Remember your humility. The idea of control over the gameplay is a mere illusion, even if you master all the mechanics. You may come up with your own dance moves, but you're still dancing to the melody of the monster's fiddle. Oh, and speaking of melodies, when Larry leaves, a sound cue will play, meaning that you can come out. Now, when I was playing this game for the first time, I didn't know about the sound cue or how to figure out when Larry was gone, and I was still dealing with the impact of seeing him all together. So I just sat there in the house shaking in my boots like a twerking cowboy, which is apparently not something you're supposed to do, because staying in your house for too long leads to this happening.
Nope, 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 nope.
It's time to meet monster number 2. That one commenter didn't give them a name, so I guess I'll name them Red-Eyed Joe, because Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Red-Eyed Joe? Now, I did call them monster number 2 because it was the second monster I personally encountered, but technically, you can encounter them in any order, and if you play right, you'll never have to see them at all, which is good to have that option, because I do not like you. And I'm not just saying that because I'm mad you spooked me the first time. You're not even scary, literally just the player avatar, but darked out with red eyes. Oh no, it's me, but worse. Hero Brian called, he wants his vibe back. And bro, what audacity even. This thing literally lives under your bed in your house, and that does not look like the face that pays rent. But on top of that, if you stay inside your own home for too long, they come out and kill you. Joe really said, go touch grass or I'll put you in it. I must admit, that does add another level of challenge to the game, as well as an additional fear factor. You not only have to make sure to avoid going inside your home as much as possible when you don't need to, but you will also feel extra anxious knowing there's essentially not a single safe space on the map. The house can only save you for so long from other monsters before it itself becomes a danger zone. It's not a hiding spot as much as it's a tool that you must know how to use correctly, otherwise it backfires at you. Like a chainsaw. And that adds so much to the already rising anxiety. Just leaves you running around wondering, oh god, what else can kill me? That's still not to say that that monster is all that threatening. Even before I got the hang of the game, I only really died to Cotton Eye Joe. I only ever died to Red-Eyed Joe like 3 times. Once during my first playthrough because it caught me off guard and I didn't know what to do about it. Second time because another monster glitched out outside my door and wouldn't let me leave, which I honestly feel was personally motivated. And the third time I stood there on purpose because I needed footage of the death. So don't get cocky, Joe, you only got me because I let you. But overall, yeah, great feature, 10 out of 10 on the shadow monster. But speaking of shadows, nighttime is also a thing in this game. When I noticed that lantern was an option, I was dreading the possibility of having to play in the dark. And yeah, you gotta play in the dark. Pitch black, that is. Like, I'm used to games having a nighttime where it's much harder to see, but this game kind of went all out with their darkness. This is not regular darkness, it is advanced darkness. And your tiny little lantern, your only saving grace, can barely do anything to even lay a crack in this thick and frightening ooze of shadows that have swallowed up your world and you along with it, triggering your PTSD from the time you got bored. Now, the nighttime offers a unique challenge, not only in that it's dark as hell, but also in that it has a new and much more threatening ambiance. It still retains that somber, gentle atmosphere of the woods, with the soft choir of the crickets playing all around, a song that is juxtaposing itself by always sounding both peaceful and busy, and making the quiet more loud. In the background, a barely noticeable drony howling of the wind can be heard, with strange, almost otherworldly creaks and roars occasionally echoing in the distance, a constant yet invisible presence, reminding you that while you are not alone in the dark, you are on your own. The first time you play this, or okay, the first time I played this, I was physically shaking as I had no idea what to expect. Trying to navigate among the murk while being surrounded by the sounds of thousands dying souls, as if they're complaining about me breaking into their world and disturbing their rest, unsure if any of them are actively on my trail, is needless to say, very creepy when you don't yet know that those noises don't actually mean anything. It's just ambiance, lies and deception, like when your parents tell you about the boogeyman, but in this case it's not to get you to behave and eat your veggies, but instead to just spice up the night a bit. This is what I meant when I say this game works best when you have no idea what you're getting yourself into. It sure feels awesome as hell to play it now after I've spent all that time freaking out about it, because this way it doesn't feel like a scary game that failed to have an impression on me because I learned all its tricks beforehand, but rather it feels like I had overcome something, even though that something is something I wouldn't have to overcome if I hadn't chosen to play the game myself. But hey, who knows, maybe it'll help me build character, and someday the skills I've learned will be of use to me in the real world. Next time a naked crawling man shows up on my property, I'll be ready. But fake out noises isn't the only thing Pumpkin Panic's nighttime has to offer. Oh no, Girlie's got the bite to go with that bark, or should I say, howl, because the next monster is a wolf. No, it's not, that was a lie. Man, how crazy would that be? A wolf, really? In the woods? As one of the monsters that try to kill you? Come on now, wolves don't even attack people. Or pumpkins. Wait, do they? Hold on. On why wolves like pumpkins so much. Huh. Oh, they apparently think it tastes good on conventional. Oh. Huh. Okay, so I guess a wolf is a pretty normal thing to expect then. Still, this is not a game about normal things trying to kill you. So, what's the real monster then? Well, let me just set the stage for you. You've just made it to your first night in a game where all you know so far is that immediate and horrible death can lurk around at any corner. The black tar of darkness has set in, rendering one of your most valuable of senses near completely useless, and as you're forced to depend more on your hearing, the sounds of the night come out to overwhelm you with their presence, disorienting you, leaving you hyper-aware to all your surroundings, the emptiness of which making a perfect canvas for your imagination to paint over all kinds of horrors, and rendering the rest of your senses useless, as you cannot be sure anymore if what you're hearing is real. Knowing not what to expect, only that you must carry on with your task, you're left darting around your farm, seemingly trying to keep moving just to avoid standing still, lest there be something already after you, while at the same time fearing taking the wrong step and walking straight into the maw of a monster, but knowing that it's only a matter of time before one shows up. And then, you start to hear this. A happy little music box melody, yay! Now, when you hear the sound, what you shouldn't be doing is running back to your house away from the noise past me, but instead run towards the noise. Yeah, that's what I did the first time playing. I didn't see this note on the house telling you to do exactly that. Not because I can't read, I just missed it. But even then, as I was running away in blind panic, I did think to myself that I'm probably doing the wrong thing, because there's no way they would have two monsters who work the same way, where you just have to run towards the house to avoid them. But I was so freaked out in that moment from everything that was going on that I wasn't able to utilize the critical thinking skills that I clearly do possess. So that was a bit foolish of me. I guess you can even say I was being kind of a clown. Oh, that hi. Oh. Wow. That's a clown. Huh. So yeah, the next thing in the scary farming game that tries to kill you is a clown. I have to deal with another clown. Nice. Not gonna lie, of all the things that attack you in this game, the clown is the most interesting one to me. Like, I know games are all about suspending your disbeliefs and whatever. I can totally believe a naked, teethy monster, shadow creatures, and the secret third thing I'm not allowed to talk about yet. But a clown? I mean, I didn't know what I was expecting to show up in the middle of the night. But a clown is nowhere near the list. What are you even doing in the middle of the woods? Are you lost, baby girl? You have confuzzled me. What a great effect. And it looks like their design is low-key inspired by Pierrot. Pierrot freaking slays. That's extra points for aesthetics. I love it. 11 out of 10. Now, the clown is a unique character, not only in that it only shows up at night and is for some reason here, but also in the way that you deal with it. With all the other monsters, you deal with by just avoiding them, but this one you have to actively seek out. And since the farm is darker than the bottom of the ocean at night, you can only rely on this semi-directional sound of the music box that will play every time the clown shows up. Combine that with an already rising anxiety as the result of playing this game, and seeing the clown emerging from the dark when you finally find it, standing there towering with their arms reaching out, just calmly waiting for you, is very... Well, have you ever been a child and had a creepy older relative you've never met come to visit and your parents insist that you go give them a hug, even though you really don't want to? That's not exactly the same, but it evokes the same feelings within me. I am uncomfortable with this. The clown will show up twice each night. The first time you find them, they'll give you a red balloon, and now you will have a red balloon. Aww. And the second time they show up, they'll look sad for some reason and will be crying and will take their balloon back. Aww. Okay, weird system. So I was ready to start speculating on why the clown behaves this way to the point of writing an entire novel-sized essay of potential lore for this game, but then I realized that those are two different clowns. Foreshadowing. That's why I was calling them they, because plural. So I guess I was wrong. The game would have two monsters that work the same way, technically, kinda, and they thought I wouldn't notice. And I didn't. I only realized this when I noticed some reviewer referring to them as the clowns. My cat's here. So thanks randomitch.io reviewer. I also hyperfixated so hard on this game, I made a whole video. And you just saved me from looking slightly dumber in it than I usually am. So finding that out really changed my perspective on the characters. For one, I noticed that it's explicitly the sad clown that gets you if you don't deliver him the balloon. If you miss the happy clown, you'll be fine, until you're not, but if you miss the sad clown, well, you'll be not. So that makes it seem like the happy clown is almost on your side. He might even be the one that left the note on your house. It even specifically says to follow my song and not our song. Maybe he's sympathetic to you because your character also has an evil twin and he understands the struggle of that. Or maybe these two just aren't on speaking terms, but they still need to engage in clown business, so they basically need your services as the balloon delivery person. You know, for clown business. Or maybe there's absolutely no reason for any of this to be happening, and sometimes things are just like that. Life be like that. Sometimes clowns just happen at you. So not everything needs lore. Did you hear that past me? Who wrote 3 extra pages of script just speculating on what the clowns are? Because I'm not reading all that. They're clowns, that's what they do. Clown activity. At the end of the day, none of that matters. Or should I say at the end of the night, because guess what? You made it! The night's over! You've survived! All the scariest things are now right in front of you! Yeah, if you were breathing the sigh of relief at the sight of beautiful rays of sunshine returning to illuminate your world and chase away its terrors, suck that air back in, because the game is about to get so much worse. It's time to meet the final monster of Pumpkin Panic. This deer. Wait, really? I was kind of expecting something much worse after all those 3. Well, to be fair to the deer, while it looks harmless, it's only really harmless at long distance. Like with a lot of things in life, like lava or serial killers. You'll be fine as long as you don't get close to it. And this I actually did know when playing for the first time. Not because I saw this helpful sign in the forest, I actually just noticed that while playing to get the footage for this video, but because I saw a screenshot showing what happens when I went to the internet to catch my breath after dying to Larry for a 3rd time. And you know what? I'm actually fine with that. I may not be particularly happy about having my private property trespassed on, but you know, who's to say my property isn't trespassing on the deer's property, huh? We are in the forest after all. And besides, I could use some company. I may be an introvert, but nobody really wants to be lonely, right? That may even be why you showed up here. You're just not ready to open up to people, but you don't want to feel isolated. I can respect that you have your own boundaries, and it's okay for the 2 of us to just coexist in the general vicinity of one another. There's place for all of us in this world, and are you approaching me right now? Yeah, so I thought this dude was just gonna be chilling here, doing his own thing, and won't bug you if you don't bug him, you know, like a wild animal that you shouldn't provoke. But no! The thing is straight up sapient. It is perfectly aware of its surroundings, it actively wants to fight, and has the intelligence to just attack you on purpose, but it's trying to give itself plausible deniability by making it feel like it's your fault. All that unusually high intelligence he's been blessed with, and he's using it to be a jerk. You actively suck, dude. Deer, more like, dang, everyone, everywhere runs away from you because you're stinky. That one commenter who named Larry called this deer Steve. I'm not calling him that because I don't respect him. Plus, I think Richard is a much better suiting name for him. So, if you're still somehow not panicking from just standing still in this game, now you have an actual reason to, because every second you're not moving doesn't just chisel away at your precious speedrun record, but also ever so slightly, but ever so constantly, reduces the distance between you and the deer that wants to eat you out. Your guts, I mean. Yeah, you probably shouldn't do that, man. You have no idea where those been. Anytime you need to do any task that require you to stand still, now need you to also be sure that the deer is far enough away from you to be safe while doing so. And you're still gonna be anxious regardless because you know he is still moving. He's lurking. He's on a mission and he is determined. He's got one thing of his mind and it's your mind. As in your brain. I mean, you know what I mean. He eats you. In Soviet people, the deer eat you. So yeah, you'd probably want to maintain a social distance between yourself and this deer. If you'll let it get too close, or let's be real, if it gets too close on its own because it's in charge of its own actions, you do still have an opportunity to escape it. It's not a likely opportunity, but it's just enough to get your hopes up. If you do somehow manage to make it into the house, or if you can trigger the deer's transformation through the wall, he'll be sent running for a bit before turning back into his normal self. Oh, look at that? He's trying to pretend to be all nice now. Yeah, not gonna work on me, buddy. A douche with flower particles is still a douche, just with flower particles. It's maybe at this point you may also start to realize that this game isn't exactly the perfect cottagecore escapism dream after all, and the only escapism you should be focusing on is escaping the heck out of here. You might even consider noticing those expensive cogs in the shop and finally decide to purchase some, and then realize that they're for this ship down at the dock where you were only coming down to briefly to get the fish. Wow, I love paying attention to my surroundings. Fixing this boat is actually the main objective of this game. I didn't tell you about it all up until this point to reflect how the game doesn't tell you, and not because I forgot. I would say that before finding out about the boat, I was playing the game and thinking, what the frick am I doing this for? But I honestly wasn't. I was too anxious to question my purpose. But yeah, the gist of this game is you basically need to earn 4,000 coins as quickly as you can. My theory is that this game is actually a representation of mental illness. The monsters that try to kill you represent your inner demons, and the money you use to buy the solution to your problems represent the money that you need to solve all your problems. And speaking of problems, guess who doesn't go away at night? That's right, the nuisance doesn't sleep. Seriously, get a hobby, man. Your one purpose in this life is to eat me. You are obsessed, oh my god, rent-free, for real. The deer is like a freaking Scientology recruiter who is given the slightest hint you were interested. Once the deer has appeared, it will remain steady and near, always coming for your rear, and if that fills your heart with fear, that's because it should, my dear. So if I haven't made it clear, you best be getting that boat to steer so you can get the heck out of here. But remain cautious on that pier, otherwise your run will end rather drear. Musketeers. By the time of the second night, it's preferred to have the boat fixed and be actively on your way out. Your lights upgraded so you can better see where this turd with antlers is. Cause deer are kinda like spiders. It's better to find one in the dark than to lose one in the dark. Man, what is up with deers anyway? Why are they always so unnecessarily creepy? And before you call me out for basing my entire idea of a whole species on one bad interaction, I just want to let you know it's not just because of this deer. It's also because of this deer, and a secret third deer that is even worse. Deer are freaking horrible, all of them, with no exceptions. Fun fact that is actually related, did you know that deer actually eat meat? Like, on purpose, they actively make the choice to do as much, not just in video games. Oh, they're just harmless, innocent herbivores, such majestic creatures of the forest. Come on, people, wake up. Bambi lied to you. The deer are an active menace to society, and they're coming for your jobs. They're the reason the economy is collapsing. They're probably what caused COVID. They invented NFTs, and they're the reason you still can't get a date. Stop letting them get away with pretty privilege. Join me, brethren. We can come together and drown out this reign of the deer. Reindeer. So yeah, deer enemy, 10 out of 10. I hate him. He ruined my life. But you know what's even worse than the deer enemy? Nothing. Which also happens to be the fifth monster of the game. It's nothing. There is no fifth monster. I thought at first that this jump scare you might get at night when you approach the well could be another monster, but it's not. It's just a jump scare. More lies and deception. Honestly, when putting it all together in a list, it turns out there aren't that many things in this game you have to worry about. It might feel disorienting and terrifying the first time you play, but once you get the hang of it, it's actually fairly simple, and the biggest challenge can come from trying to beat it as fast as you can. I already said that I don't like difficult games because they stress me out, and the same thing applies to speedruns. The pressure of a ticking clock looming over you is just an uncomfortable reminder that the flow of time is constant and age doesn't wait for you. But this game was actually fun for me to try and beat over and over as fast as I can. I mean, that's not to say I'm good at it, but overall, I guess what I'm trying to say with these 11 pages of script is I really dig this game. It's pretty cool. My only complaint about it is that it could be better optimized. I know I said I played it on a potato, but it still runs Sims 4 way better, so I don't think it's the potato's fault. Actually, I do have one more complaint about it. There isn't enough of it, and I want more. The creator did say they have plans to update the game and add more levels, and I sincerely hope that didn't fall through, because otherwise I will fall through the floor, into the ground. I die. I'm also curious if there are any intentions of having a story in this game. The current state of it doesn't have any to speak of. Like, there's stuff you can speculate on if you're mentally ill. And honestly, I'm okay with it staying that way. Like I said, not everything needs lore. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't eat it up if you played it in front of me. Please, sir, may I have some lore? But yeah, those are my closing thoughts. Again, I would still recommend you go and play the game yourself if you still haven't, because overall, it's a pretty good game. That's actually why I abbreviated it to PP. It stands for pretty good. But with that said, thank you so much for hearing me out. I don't know how to end videos, so I'ma just... Bye.